couple of years ago, if someone would have told you that you would have 4 cameras in one budget smartphone, that would be crazy. But that's actually what's happening now. And what's happening is that developers of smartphones, before they can introduce brand new technology, they really need to focus on perfecting the existing ones. And right now, that's the cameras that are being really built up to be the best they can be at the best prices available. Right now, I'm introducing you the brand new Realme 5, which is a budget phone. It's hard to believe it's even a budget phone, to be honest. Actually, if you remember, we did some videos before about the Realme 3, 3 Pro and Realme X as well, which you can check. It's in our channel and you can just click right here and go back and compare to the brand new Realme 5. As for the pricing for the Realme 5, it's still a mystery for now, but it will be announced very soon. My guess, it's under $200, which would place it as a good replacement for the Realme X. Before we go any forward, let's look at the marketing message from Realme, the ads. It says here on the box, dare to leap, that's their focus, and they mean it's about the camera in particular. Now, before I talked about the Realme 3, the Realme 3 Pro and the Realme X, but I didn't go into much detail about the cameras because frankly there was not much to be said. But now with the new Realme 5, the focus really is on the camera and it's spectacular. The regular version in my hand today is also a quad setup, but the main camera only adopts a 12 megapixel image sensor with f1.8 large aperture. The bigger the lens aperture is, the more the amount of light your camera can absorb. How your pictures look like is dependent on the quality of light and the capability of hardware to capture light. In a good light condition, samples are super clear. The images are not over-sharpened. The colors are pretty accurate, but I think the algorithm is trying to increase the contrast and saturation to make images more eye-catching. Comparing to the Pro version, we can hardly see a difference if you do not zoom in. Of course, in the distance, the Pro version presents more clean details, but I think the regular version totally is enough for daily use. Also, the Realme 5 features a wide-angle camera with 8 megapixel, aperture of f2.25 and 119 degrees ultra-wide angle field of view. The distortion calibration algorithm customized by Realme this time is doing a great job. Comparing to the Realme X, which is not capable of ultra-wide shooting, the difference is quite obvious. The third camera is a macro lens with aperture of f2.4. The closest focusing distance is about 4 centimeters. The quality of the images are impressive, but I do notice that the transition between foreground and background is not that structured. Enough about the camera, let's look at the design for the Realme 5. Now, actually it has a very nice and cool design in the back, like diamond cuts with reflections. The only issue is it's not a glass frame, it's actually made of plastic, which it both looks a little bit cheap and it really gets a lot of fingerprints very easily. On the other hand, on a positive note, the frame around the smartphone is metal, so that's good and it really makes it more sturdy. The Realme 5 comes equipped with a 6.5-inch display with only 720p resolution. Now that's really a huge downgrade nowadays. Even in budget phones, you'll see many other smartphones with at least 1080p. When comparing with the previous smartphone, the Realme 3, which I happen to have right here, the screen-to-body ratio in the Realme 5 is actually higher, 89%, with a smaller water drop notch here on the top. If you look at the bottom of the smartphone, you'll notice that the main port is a micro USB Type A USB right here at the bottom, so that's really unusual nowadays. You expect Type-C on pretty much everything. On the other hand as well, there is a 5000 milliamp hour battery inside the Realme 5. So that means basically that as long as you have a fully charged battery, it can last you through the whole day. And then, when you go to sleep at night, you just have to make sure to plug it in and it charges everything. It will take some time because the power brick only supports 10 watts charging though. As for memory and storage, the Realme 5 comes with different solutions. You can get it with 3 GB of RAM and 32 gigs of storage, or with 4 GB of RAM and either 64 or 128 gigs of storage. Also, you can increase that storage with a micro SD card up to 256 gigs if you need. As for the hardware department, the Realme 5 adopts the Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 processor that has 8 cores, 64-bit architecture with strong performance and excellent power control. But it is still a middle-end or even low-end processor. The quality of this chip is still a few steps behind the Snapdragon 7 series, so I'm a little bit surprised by this kind of choice, as the 710 chip is now very common and popular in budget phones. So considering some of the low specs we can find here on the Realme 5, like the 720p display, the cheap materials on the back, the lack of fast charging and the low-end CPU, we can guess that the price will be aggressively low, almost for sure. And by the way, if you're watching this, you might be interested, we're actually giving away right now a Realme 5 Pro. It's not this one, this is the Realme 5, we're giving away the Realme 5 Pro. You can find the details in the link below this video, so check that out to see how you can win, and remember to subscribe and like our video as well. Thank you for watching. I'm Daniel for Gizmo China. See you next time.